Welcome to the Live Bright Show, the pod for badass service-based entrepreneurs who are creating businesses and lives that are fun, successful, and free. And now your host, seven-figure business owner, coach, and founder of the Live Bright movement, here to help you own your potential, Molly Moran.
What's up, my friends? With me today, I've got Katie Bassiri. She is a speaker, an author, a highly awarded and recognized leader in the mental health industry. She's the owner and clinical director of the Treehouse, which provides high-quality therapeutic services using a whole bunch of different modalities. And this is really exciting to me. She is a registered play therapist and play therapy supervisor. She's a mom. She's fit AF. She is funny. I've only had the pleasure of meeting Katie once in real life, and I've been following her, and I was like, I gotta get this woman on my pod. She is like putting out so much joy and fun and energy, and she's a badass businesswoman. So welcome to the show, Katie. Nice to see you.
That is quite an intro. Thank you so much. That's a great intro. I appreciate it.
Good. Yeah, my pleasure. So, well, I'd love to just kind of start with getting to know you a little bit better. So, this is like a business, life, fun, like we talk real shit here, podcast. And so you are kind of a new entrepreneur, like about almost like 8 or so years along your entrepreneurial journey.
Yep.
Tell us about taking the plunge. And if you wouldn't also mind, tell us a little bit more about what the Treehouse is, just so the listeners understand.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Treehouse is a mental health agency. I have around 17 therapists right now and myself, a handful of administrative team, and we provide therapy to people across the lifespan in the area of mental health. And there's kind of 2 main areas that we really specialize in and focus on. And you mentioned the word play, and that's kind of the cornerstone of my business, play across the lifespan. So not just for children, but for all ages. And then the second thing that's really near and dear to my heart is supporting people who are neurodivergent. So under the neurodiversity umbrella, you often hear about ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia. It's really just a term for a differently wired brain. And so that's my passion, is just supporting the mental health of people who are neurodivergent. So that's a little bit about the Treehouse.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome. Thank you. And how did you decide to go from being, because I'm sure you were in therapy or not in therapy, you probably were in therapy. I am in therapy. Right, exactly. Right. Yeah. But like you were working in the therapeutic world before starting your own spot. So talk to us a little bit about taking that plunge.
Oh man, what a wild ride. I think first and foremost, I have a brain that is differently wired, and often we find that those kind of brains really thrive in an entrepreneur role. You can, be creative, make your own rules, kind of think outside the box. And so what I found in working for other people was that my brain just didn't connect with the way that they were running their businesses. And after working and doing that for a while, it really felt like, I think I just need to create my own thing. And in doing that, I can kind of honor and celebrate my way of doing things, even though it's a little bit different. And so I, about 8 years ago, opened up my own private practice, therapy practice. And the other reason why I did that was because I was also pregnant with my first kid. In a nutshell, my specialty has always been autism. I've worked in the autism community for a very long time. It's always kind of been my passion. About a year into opening my business, I found out that I was, again, pregnant with twins. So I had my brand new baby. Then I had kind of Irish triplet.
That's not busy.
Not busy at all. Running a business with 3 under the age of 2. And we quickly found out that they were developing differently. In a wild turn of events, I became a mom who discovered that all 3 of her children were autistic and very differently wired. And I was running a business that supported autistic people while parenting 3 autistic babies. I realized that I couldn't do it all. Very quickly, I realized that I couldn't do it all. So I had a choice. I could either grow my business and exponentially support people by training and by running the business and by doing all the things that you do as an entrepreneur. Or I could pivot and totally remove myself from the business altogether. And so I leaned into the hard thing and I grew the business. And so now we have a large group of people who specialize in what I really am passionate about, and my babies are thriving. So,
wow, that's like, I mean, that's just like universal alignment or something. Like, I mean,
absolutely.
talk about being the perfect parent for those babies to come into this world too. And, I mean, just wow. So you took, so you said you could have gone two different ways and you decided to grow your businesses. Does that mean you've stepped back as an actual service provider and you are more in an administrative leadership role? You've got to be, I would think. You can't do all of it.
Right. Yeah. I'm ADHDer. And so I love having my hands in all the things. Yes, I stepped back from doing therapy quite a bit. I do still practice therapy. Right now, I specialize in seeing neurodivergent adults and neurodivergent couples. So I'm not seeing as many children as I did in the past. And that gives me this space to really go home and play with my kids and have the energy to do that. So I'm not doing that all day, every day.
Wow. That just seems so smart. And so, I mean, that's amazing. That's really amazing. Good for you. What's surprised you about owning your own business?
Oh, every day is a surprise. Everything is a surprise. I often face a lot of my own fears about what I'm scared of becoming. The best kind of analogy is I often think about the Jedis and the dark side in Star Wars. How do I hold both of these parts of myself, a business owner who wants to thrive and make money and still very much wants to devote herself to the community and give as much as I can. And so I think the thing that constantly surprises me is like holding both of those things in me at the same time while really trying to make sure that I don't become the thing that I fear, which is, just a large corporation that loses its heart and loses its original mission.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I totally get that. As a small business owner myself, and I remember when I started, I've had my cleaning company for 15 years. And when I started, I was like, I'm not going to just make money off the back of people. I want to be very smart and very ethical. I mean, that's because that's who I am. Like I brought my own personal values to the business, which you obviously have as well. And for years, I literally didn't make any money. Because I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm the last one that gets paid. Okay,
Right.
and then my partner who's been with me almost the entire time that I've had the business, and I told her I was interviewing you. She was like, oh my God, I love the Treehouse. She was a school psychologist, and she used to refer to the Treehouse all the time. But she was like, Molly, I just to remind you, like, you're not a social service agency. Like this is like 10 years ago. like there's gotta be a way to do, to do it, like be good at business and give to your people. Like it's not like a mutually exclusive kind of thing. And it took me a long time to figure it out. I'll just tell you that. It sounds like you're figuring it out a lot faster than I did. But yeah, there's like, money is not evil. Money is, I think, freaking amazing. And it, what we can do with it and everything, but we come by it in a bad way. Right. So, I hear that. And I think just sitting here, you've got the awareness that fear is never going to come true. Like, like you're good. I think you're good, Katie.
Thanks. I just really want to try to continue to be intentional.
Yeah. And it can get so busy, especially. So you've got 3 kids, and what are they, all under the age of 8?
Yeah. So my oldest is 8, which is as old as my business. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So how do you, so I don't have children. So that's like something I am like, it's like a whole other level of having to be intentional to take care of your, like, I can't even imagine. Like, I feel like I already have a hard time sometimes with intentionality and other things. So how do you navigate all that and hold space for yourself? And I see you doing pull-ups at like CrossFit or something. Like you're like this Wonder Woman out there and you're like laughing and having date nights with your husband. And I'm like, okay, she's got it. So how do you navigate all of that?
It's messy. I think you navigate it in a very messy way. I really don't want to kind of continue to promote this idea that it's easy or that I'm perfect. I have really hard days, and none of us are, right? None of us are. So it's done with a lot of both pain and joy. I think that's the way I navigate it, is just like embracing that things are going to keep coming up, and we pivot, we continue to try to adjust. As much as I can, I try to schedule in the things that I know are going to keep me sane. So the things that keep me sane, you mentioned them, is very rigorous exercise. As someone with ADHD, I need a lot of activity in my day.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up typically at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go to CrossFit. And if I don't do that, I notice that things are harder for me to manage. I schedule in a date night once a week. It took us a while to get there. It took us a while to find a babysitter who could watch our children. It took us a while to know that we financially could afford that. And so it's taken a lot of work and a lot of, again, trying to be intentional to really kind of devote time to the things that I know really, really matter to me and my brain.
Yeah, I love that. I think that, and I love how you started that. It's like, it's not perfect and it's a work in progress. And that's key, right? It's like, many of us are kind of constantly iterating, okay, this is working for this season, but now it's not really working for this season. But just being really aware and intentional, like you said, about taking care of yourself and what you need to do to take care of yourself. Because unfortunately, a lot of people and a lot of mothers in particular end up kind of losing themselves because they get just so pulled. And then a business owner on top of that has grown really, really fast. I mean, you got from like you to 17 other people, like that's massive growth in a short period of time. Congratulations on that, by the way. But I think it's incredible. And the intentionality piece of it just kind of keeps resonating and coming back to me. Has there been times when where you have gotten kind of away from you and you're like, holy shit, where's Katie in all of this? And like, has that happened during this journey? And how have you kind of dealt with that?
Every week, man, every freaking week. I'm like, where am I? How do I get back to my own needs and, what really matters? And you mentioned the word balance. And I think the thing about seasons and balance is just a continuous act of like holding on and letting go. Each day is like an inhale and an exhale. And for a long time, I felt like I was holding my breath. I felt like I was inhaling without exhaling. So every single week I have to try to remember, like, hold on, you gotta exhale.
I love that. I feel like balance should have like an asterisk next to it because it's like kind of a joke, right? like I don't know. I mean, not that you can't live a healthy, happy, like life where you're sleeping enough and, but like it's a challenge, I think, especially in a business that's growing rapidly, in a family that's growing, so I like that you remind yourself every week, okay, I need to exhale. And I remember being in a time of grief in my life and I was like, and I used breathing as I'm like, okay, what goes in must go out, and just using breathing to regulate my nervous system and be like, okay, like what comes up also goes down. Nothing is forever. And it was a really sort of helpful way for me to think about things, kind of like the inhale, exhale. So very cool. Can we talk about play therapy a little bit?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So for people who don't know what play therapy is, maybe tell us what it is. And so actually I'll stop. I realize when I'm doing these podcasts, I end up asking like 4 questions at once. And the very first person I interviewed was an attorney. And she was like, now Molly, That's what we call a compound question. I'm like, sorry. So, okay, I'm going to try not to have compound questions. So tell us what play therapy is, please, Katie.
So play therapy is a way of doing mental health therapy. So originally it started out in the 1950s. It's developed into kind of the Association for Play Therapy, which is kind of an association that promotes incorporating play into mental health therapy as a way of further allowing expression of feelings and experiences. Originally, it was used primarily with children. So there's a lot of research on doing play therapy with ages about 2 to 12 is the typical age range. When you typically go to talk therapy, it's primarily language based, right? You're sitting on a couch, you're identifying your feelings, you're talking about what's happened to you, how your week is going, and then your therapist typically responds in a verbal language way. I'm hearing that you're feeling this way, and
Right.
how does that, all of the, how does that make you feel? And what they found was that kids often communicate very differently, especially in those early ages. So instead of saying what's happened to them, they'll play out what's happened to them. And if we are going to meet people at their developmental level, it means that we have to be able to speak their primary language. And the primary language of children is play. So play therapy is a pretty rigorous way of understanding development, how to speak the language of play and then incorporate it into therapy. And now there's a movement working with all ages, as young as to as old as 99, incorporating these ideas into the lifespan of mental health therapy. So that's what it is in a nutshell.
I love that. I love that. So how has it impacted you personally, like using play therapy? Has it changed how you've interacted with the world and thought about things?
Absolutely, especially when it comes to business. I think when we think about business, when we think about entrepreneurship, it's this mentality of work. And with the idea of work, there's an idea that you have to get it right. When you're playing, it kind of releases that pressure, right? So when you're playing in business, it allows you to just kind of creatively explore without the pressure to do or be a certain way. I really value the idea of play in business because it means that I'm really just trying things out. I'm exploring, I'm creating, I'm seeing what comes of it without the idea that there has to be any certain way I'm doing it right. And, I apply that same idea to parenting. I think that when we release the pressure of how to parent the right way, and then we really just lean into play, it allows us to be in the moment, right? So it allows us to kind of really get into the flow of being with the people in our space and igniting those parts of our brain that decrease our anxiety and increase connection. And so, yeah, play is my jam. Also, can I tell you a story?
Please, yes.
So you and I know each other because we both won an award here in Albuquerque.
Yes.
About women of influence, right? And so how we had to pick one word that represents kind of who we are in business.
Yes.
And so I was the last one to go. And I was like, I've got my word, I'm ready to go. There's nothing that I care about more than play. And so I go and I say, yeah, my word is play. And they say, oh, no, play has already been taken. I was like, someone took the word play. Who was it? They were like, oh, her name's Molly. I was like, I'm going to find this Molly and I'm going to let her know she took my word.
No, we're going to play together.
Word.
Come on. They didn't let you have it? What did you choose?
No. So quick pivot. My second word is autism.
Okay. All right. That's hilarious. I was like, how do you boil it down into one? That was like, and bring a prop. What prop did you bring?
Oh, I brought a rainbow slime.
Okay, nice. I brought juggling balls. Okay. All right. Yeah. We're going to be friends. We're going to have to hang out, Katie, like for sure. Especially now that we know we work like 200 feet from each other, which is hilarious. Yeah. Anyway. So, I think going back to what you were saying about play and play in business and play at home as a parent, the stakes get so high in business. I mean, it's how it's our livelihood, right? And so then it becomes, for so many people, it becomes very serious. And I have encountered and worked with so many people that's the case. And I was one of those people for a while. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, no, and what has given you the wherewithal, confidence, whatever, to be like, yeah, I'm just going to play. I'm going to play as a parent. I'm going to play as a business owner. Like, that's what I'm going to do.
That's a great question. What gave me the confidence is I'm pretty constantly inspired by all the women around me. I work in a very playful environment, and the people who work with me just emulate it themselves. And it gives me permission to do it as well. And so I think, I'm really lucky to have just really playful people.
I think it's so key to surround ourselves with the right people, and it can be challenging to find those people. I know that I have changed my circle for various reasons, my business circle, because it's like, no, like, that's not the kind of life I want. That's not the kind of energy I want. Like, I want more of this. And so trying to do that, not that I drop people, I don't mean that, but I think being intentional about it is really smart. Hey friend, a quick break to ask you to please go to livebrightshow.com to be added to my email list. Here's the thing. I hate email, so I pretty much guarantee you're not going to receive anything excessive. Only important things like when I have new options in my coaching program, offer free challenges, new courses, release a new pod, or perhaps an occasional biz life tip. That's livebrightshow.com. Now back to the pod. Did I read that you are in business with your husband as well? Is he part of your practice?
Yeah. He originally was a sex crimes police officer detective. And over the course of doing that work, really found the power of listening to people's stories. And as the business grew, it gave him the ability to explore what it would be like to be a counselor, a therapist. And so, so now he's joining me here at the business, and we lead couples counseling workshops together. And it's just really cool to have him in the office next door to me.
That's awesome. So to be clear, you're his boss.
I
mean, that's what I heard. Because you are the clinical director, you are the founder of the Treehouse, right? So he works for you.
He loves when I remind him of it. Yeah, he loves that.
I bet he does. I'm sure, like, how do you separate? I mean, you have a busy life at home. You've got 3 kids too, but how do you, with your husband also working with you, have you had to be really intentional about separating? Like, how do you separate that and not let it slide into the home turf?
I'm not sure that we do. I'm not sure that we separate it. We, at the heart of our relationship, are incredibly supportive of each other. And it's really helped for us to learn how to be couples counselors as well, because we apply the same concepts to our own relationship. In Gottman couples counseling, the cornerstones, the pillars have to do with trust. And so what that means is I trust that my partner is going to make the best decision for themselves and for me. We're both kind of doing what we can for each other, and that we're going to pick up, when each other needs something, we're going to pick up the slack. And it's kind of a game of leapfrog, honestly.
Yeah.
When it comes to kind of neurodivergent brains, we have 2 very different brains that complement each other. And it's nice because he always says that we're like an airplane, and I'm the thrust and he's the drag. And so, I'm always like charging ahead with my ideas. I want to do it all. And he's very practical about how those things are going to get done and how do we do them intentionally. I think I'm just really lucky in that I have someone who just complements me very well in all the areas.
That's amazing. You've talked about being that you're neurodivergent and working with neurodivergent. I have a hard time pronouncing certain words, populations. And, there's a very, like, it can really serve you well in entrepreneurship, actually, to be neurodivergent. I have many friends who are, and how has that served you well, would you say? How has that worked to your benefit as a business owner?
I think that my business is different than any other business in Albuquerque. And I think that draws people in. So I think that's the first thing, is that it served me because I've been able to create something different and there's a need. I think specifically with my brain, I am a very quick paced thinker. I pivot really easily. Day in and day out in the business, I have people knocking on my door 24/7 with thoughts and questions, and I'm able to use that to my advantage. My brain can handle that kind of quick paced change. The third thing, I think that neurodivergent brains are just really good at creating things. We're very innovative. I love to create. I love working on the website. I love creating new therapy groups. I love creating a book.
I want to hear about that. Yeah.
I just love to create, and many other neurodivergent brains do as well.
Yes. Tell us about your book and what is it?
Yeah. So my husband and I wrote a children's book called Congratulations, You're Autistic. It was originally written for our children when they were 3 and 4, because we wanted to start the message about their identity in a very positive way. I think often people learn things about their identity from society that is pathologizing or negative. And we wanted to start the conversation in a very different way and say, this is who you are, this is who we are as a family, and there's strengths with being autistic, there's struggles with being autistic, but we love you for who you are. So that's what the children's book is.
I love that. It's like positioning it from, like, I don't know if normalizing is the right word, but it's positioning it from a much more powerful place and a much more positive place rather than this stamp. That's awesome. Are there any other books on your horizon?
Yes.
Like 10?
Always.
10 of them?
So many ideas. It's really just, how do I rein in my brain enough to focus on just one idea?
Gotcha.
That's
I gotcha.
the balancing act.
Entrepreneur to entrepreneur, I completely hear you. So what if I may ask, what's your big focus right now? Like since you do have a lot of different paths you could be going down.
Absolutely. I think the big focus right now is maintaining the quality of our services after growing, and really putting into place additional people who can kind of oversee and maintain the culture of what I've created. So that means that I'm training supervisors, I'm training people in leadership roles. And also the really cool thing about training those people is that they then go and they create as well. So it's really just an exponential process of training the future to continue to do what we do. So it's not just on me. So that's what we're doing right now.
I love that. And, I think my cleaning business has gone through many different iterations. And I would say it's almost broken at different, it's like, okay, what worked at this many people does not work at this many people. And then when I started to step back more, like figuring out the culture piece and hiring people who shared my values. And that's like, the value piece is huge for us, like from the leadership down team all the way to the cleaning pros, but having that culture, I mean, that's what sustains a business and also makes people feel seen, loved, supported, and want to continue working and providing great service, right? So
exactly.
That sounds like that's a great use of your time. Katie, I feel like I could talk to you for hours and I want to be really respectful of your time. So just a couple more fast questions, I think fast.
Ooh.
Do you have any advice or anything that you would give to somebody just starting out or even younger you?
No, I've been doing this for a bit. I think if I had a message for myself when I was starting out, it was remembering to nurture myself as much as I nurture other people. And that's something I continuously have to remember, is the things that I do for other people, I also deserve those things. And And so that's a message that I would give to any young person is you deserve to be loved the way that you love others.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so, I mean, I think, gosh, that's like a mic drop. And now I'm going to go all like light and fluffy from here, but it's so true. And I was talking to somebody recently about some of the work that I do, like with my coaching. And a lot of it is just like helping people remember how awesome they are and to nurture and love themselves as much as they do everybody else around them. Right. So yeah, that resonates hugely. All right. So we're going to switch into this like wrap up, rapid fire, would you rather, kind of silly, playful, you like play, part of the show. The rules are you can say skip if you want to. There's nothing really that outlandish. So you can say skip, but I'll start with some easy ones. So like, what's your favorite pizza?
Ooh, green chili, pepperoni.
Oh, you're such a spoken like a New Mexico person. All right. Favorite TV show right now or movie?
My favorite TV show is This Is Us. And my favorite movie is Forrest Gump.
Oh, good ones. That's such a good soundtrack too, that Forrest Gump soundtrack. Yeah. Wow. All right. Would you rather spend a week in a submarine, like exploring under the sea, or a week in space, like, and let me just toss it out there. Safety is not an issue. So don't answer from a safety perspective.
Isn't that interesting that that's where our brains go?
Where am I more likely to die?
I think that I would rather explore space. One of my son's special interests is space. And so I love to get in with his interests, and I can see us exploring space together.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Yeah, I think I would definitely choose space, like hands down. All right. Would you rather have a permanent mustache and beard that you cannot shave, okay, or have hair that grows 10 inches every night?
Oh my gosh. I think I could get down with a mustache and a beard. Yeah.
Okay, you are the first woman who has answered that way. I love it. That's amazing. Everyone's like, oh yeah, hair. Like, that's awesome. I love it. Okay. Yeah, I think you could make it work. I mean, like you could, I'm sure you could pull it off. All right. Where can people connect with you, Katie? They want to learn about the Treehouse or you?
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram. The Play Boss is the handle, and you can check out our websites, www.treehousenm.com. I also have a website, www.katiebassiri.com.
All right, and awesome. We'll get that all in we'll put all the links in. Absolutely. And the Play Boss. I like that very much. That's
the Play Boss.
The Play Boss. All right. Last question for you, Katie. I may have already said that 3 questions ago, but the last question I have for you is do you feel like you have designed this kick-ass life that you have? I mean, you've got some amazing things going on. Do you feel like it's by design or by luck?
I would say both. I think that I'm incredibly privileged, and I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that. And so I think there's luck in the same word that there's privilege. And then I take what I know, I really try to be intentional about the design of how to implement what I'm good at and what I know. So I think it's both.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Live Bright show. It was really fun to get to know you a little bit better. And I want to definitely talk to you more about play, and we'll do that separately. But thanks again. And I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks, Katie.
Bye, Molly.
And that's it for today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Live Bright Show. If you enjoyed this pod, please go to livebrightshow.com to be in the know for new program offerings and podcast releases. Molly has more awesome guests and content coming your way, so you're going to want to be on that list. Also, just because you're still listening, it would be incredible if you could go ahead and subscribe to this podcast and provide the show with a 5-star review. You know how they help. Go forth, have fun, and live bright, friends.